back with more of Real Estate Update. James Wedgeworth. I don't want to get too depressed, but the market, ups and downs, sometimes big downs.
Are you talking about the
Stock market, I'm sorry, yeah. So, news of the tariffs by the president, and then the market started, I think, maybe at 1,000 down, at one point, 1,200 points down. Does that affect those people that want to make a second home purchase here on Hilton Head Island?
There's no saying that say markets don't like uncertainty. I had two different people yesterday that looked at property. We found the house they really liked, and they don't even know each other in different states. They both go, I may wait a week. I said, why? Well, the stock market is up and down, mostly down recently, and that affects their attitude.
Oh, yeah.
So when those things happen, sales slow down.
That's going to influence the market.
Because people are thinking, well, it could get worse. Mm-hmm. It could get worse. And it did in 2010.
Yeah, I mean, talk about that. That we had a lot of homes that were second homes. Foreclosures, there were a ton, were there not?
In 2010, 1 out of 3 homes that sold on Hilton Head were bank owned, meaning they're foreclosure.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I don't think that will happen again because they've a lot of checks in the system now.
Right.
But it devastated the real estate market.
I mean,
we went through years to.
We went through the best of times, I hate to say it, for real estate during COVID, and the worst of times was back then when all that went on.
Yeah, it was
People
terrible.
just walked away, huh? From the second homes? Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's talk about inventory. I know certain communities, well, probably all of them, inventory is up compared to a year ago. Yeah. Can you kind of give us a look?
I can give you a rundown. Here's the important thing. You have to have a reference point. Like, I'll give you an example. This client of mine called me recently, and they said something like, in Austin, Texas, whatever county that is, there are 5,000 homes on the market. And I told him, I said, I have no idea what that means because I don't have a reference point. How many were on the market last year? Well, we don't know. But my daughter's a realtor. I'll call her. So whatever he calls me back, and he said, it's 500 approximately.
It's a big change.
From 500 to 5,000, that's 10x. That's the increase in inventory. Now, what happens when inventory increases, what happens to prices usually?
Down?
It's not good for pricing. No. There's a kind of break-even point, And we have had an increase in inventory, which is great if you're buying.
Sure.
It's not as good if you're selling.
It was so tight before, though. I wonder, even though we've had the increase, it's not out of hand or crazy.
No, still.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the word I use. Every time my wife sends me to the grocery store, everybody stops me, my clients, and they don't say, can I help you find the mayonnaise? They say, how's the real estate market?
Well, you're the barometer,
And what I've told them, it's not crazy, it's strong, normal.
Okay.
Or normal, strong. I mean, it's a strong market, but it's a regular market.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, like houses are staying on the market 36 days. In COVID, they stayed on the market 5 days.
Sometimes in a day.
A day, yeah.
I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah. And then last year it was 18 days, it's 36. Now, 36 days is still not a long time to have a house on the market, but it's significantly less than 22 when it was 5 days, or a year ago when it was approximately 18 days.
And people, I bet, that are listening now are still hopeful or anticipating that that's going to be the case. So you have to kind of throw a little realism in there.
Yeah, they think, well, it's still good. My neighbor got X for my house, therefore I should be able to get X for mine. And sometimes it doesn't work that way. But as I mentioned, I did actually run some specific areas.
Okay.
There are 258 homes for sale today on Hilton Head. There was 183 this time last year. So that is an increase of inventory. Now, if this time next year there's 600, we got a problem.
Yeah, which we don't.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
But if it goes from 258 to 325, that's not that big a deal.
Okay.
But you got to keep watching it. Now, what we can't figure out is why in certain areas you'll have a shoot up of inventory and the development next door doesn't. We can discuss all the reasons. I don't think we really know. It just sometimes just happens that way.
My little personal theory is we have an older population here, and some people that are getting up there in years want to move either into a retirement community or to go back home where their kids are.
Yeah, they do
So I've
that.
heard that more than once, but that's just the uneducated Alex saying that. So we have to take a break again already, okay? But we'll
Okay.
have a lot more in just a moment. Stay right there.